guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the Do You Have That Book challenge. So I guess originally it's actually a tag, but then people just call it a challenge. So I don't know, do I have that book tag / challenge? Yeah, to be honest, like thinking about doing this, I was kind of nervous at first because I was like, well, you know, I don't read a whole lot of like mainstream literature, etc. So I don't know if I'm gonna have all the books on this list. But to my surprise, I do have the majority of them. So anyways, let's get into these questions. The first question is, do you have a book with deckled edges? And okay, I knew I had some books with deckled edges, but I was like, which books are these? So I had to go through my entire bookshelf until I found the ones I was thinking of. And yes, it turns out to be Jesus Freaks by DC Talk and the Voice of the Martyr. So actually, yeah, see the deckled edges here. Well, deckled edges here, a lot of them. This is a book with deckled edges. I think this is like one of the only books I have with deckled edges. I don't have that many. Moving on to question number 2, and that's, do you have a book with 3 or more people on the cover? And yes, I do. I have quite a few. I picked Nightfall by Shannon Messenger, and this is the 6th book in the Keeper of the Lost City series, which is a series that I love a lot. And yeah, so obviously 3 people, 1, 2, 3. So yeah. Next question. Do you have a book based on another fictional story? And yes, I do. I have an entire series of them. But let's pick the first one in the series. So obviously the Hagenheim series by Melanie Dickerson is based off of like fairy tales, so they're all fictional stories, of course. And this one, The Healer's Apprentice, which is the first one in the series, is based off of The Sleeping Beauty. So yeah, there you go. It's based off of a fictional story. Okay, next question is, do you have a book with a title that's 10 letters long? And yes, I do. It actually took me a while to find one because I was like, oh no wait, that's 9, that's 11, but I found one with 10. So that book is Chivalrous by Dinah L. Slayman. And I thought it would have like more letters, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 exactly. So yeah, you can count if you want. Yeah, anyways, this was a pretty good book. I do recommend it. I should review this series sometime soon. Got it for Christmas last year, but yes, it was. Okay, moving on to the next question, and this is, do you have a book with a title that starts and ends with the same letter? Yes, I do. Hold on, which oh. And also from the Keeper of the Lost City series by Shannon Messenger, we have Exile. You notice that it starts with an E and it ends with an E. They're also like, actually Everblaze and Neverseen both start and end with the same letter, but Exile is like the first one of those. So I picked this. Okay, next question is, do you have a mass market paperback? And no, I don't. I've actually been looking through all my books and I do not have a mass market paperback. Actually, I don't have to look through all of my books, so there might be one, but like, yeah, so far I have no knowledge of us having a mass market paperback. Okay, so next question then. Do you have a book written by an author using a pen name? Again, not to my knowledge, I don't. Like, some author I have might be like using a pen name and I just didn't know. But I don't have time to like look up every single author of every single one of my books and see whether they're using a pen name or not. So I'll just go with no for now. If I find one, then I find one. Okay. The next one says, do you have a book with a character's name in the title? And yes, I do. This is not hard. So this is Fox by Nadine Brands. And yes, obviously the main character's name, last name at least, is Fox. His first name is Thomas, but last name still count because it's a part of your name. So yeah, Fox by Nadine Brands. Although her other book, Romanov, is also the last name of another one of the main character in that book. But I just picked Fox because I think it was better than Romanov in my opinion. But yeah, so Fox, also a really good book. I highly recommend it. It was amazing. Okay, moving on to the next question. The next question is, do you have a book with 2 maps in it? And yes, I do. Actually, I don't know if this counts, but Unlocked by Shannon Messenger technically has 2 maps in it. One in the front and one in the back. but they're the same map. So I don't know if that counts. Technically it's like 2 separate maps. They're just put on like the front cover and the back cover of the book. But if that doesn't count, then this book has many maps in it. The Bible. So yes, the Bible is a book. Like, why would it not be a book? And it's got plenty of maps in it, believe me. So let me find a few, for example. Actually, there are like tons of maps in here. Okay, so at the back of each Bible, let's see. This one has the lands of the patriarchs, the Exodus from Egypt, the lands assigned to the tribes of Israel. Sorry, reading upside down is kind of hard. The kingdom of Saul, David, and Solomon, the divided kingdom of Israel and Judah. We've passed 2 by now, of course. The city of Jerusalem, the land of Israel during the New Testament. And places Paul visited. So yeah, that is definitely more than 2 maps. So if a lot doesn't count, then here we go. This has more than 2 maps. Okay, moving on. Do you have a book that was turned into a TV show? Not by my knowledge, I don't. Actually, it's Percy Jackson. No, Percy Jackson is movies. I'm pretty sure it's movies. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Percy Jackson is movies, so it's not a TV show. It doesn't count. A book that was turned into a TV show. How tragic. Okay, moving on. Do you have a book that was written by someone who was originally famous for something else? E.g. a celebrity, athlete, actor, etc. So, to be honest, like, not in the books that I bought with my personal money or like were gifted to me or etc. I don't. But technically in the corporate library, actually, so yeah, this book was for school and it's God Smuggler by Brother Andrew. And this was an amazing book. I had to read it for school. I had to do like a book study and write an essay on it, etc. But yeah, this was an amazing book. It's quite, like, you know, for a nonfiction book at least, it was very thrilling and action-packed, and yeah, so I just love this. It was written very well, and obviously if you don't know who Brother Andrew is, he was missionary basically, but like an undercover missionary, so he brought like Bibles into the Iron Curtain, or the countries of the Iron Curtain, etc. And yeah, so it was really cool, and you got to like see his journeys and adventures in this book. So yeah, recommend. Okay, moving on to the next question. Do you have a book with a clock on the cover? And yes, I do. Nancy Drew and the Secret of the Old Clock. So if you observe, there's a clock on the cover. I actually, okay, funny story, I have the first 5 books of the Nancy Drew series, but like in a different cover format too, so it's like one of the more modern covers. It's not like, I don't know, this is like an old-fashioned kind of cover, but the first 5, like I have The Secret of the Old Clock, The Hidden Staircase, The Bungalow Mystery, The Mystery of Lilac and Secret of Shadow Ranch, and The Secret of Redgate Farm, all in like this like modern cover thing. So they're not like this color and stuff, but The Secret of the Old Clock does not have a clock on it, okay? It's like Nancy Drew and then like this path leading to like this truck and its wheels are out of like gears, and then the like beside the path are like more gears and gears and stuff. But yeah, it doesn't have a clock on it. So tragic. So I had to pick the old version because actually I have the first 20 of the series and like this type of cover, so only this one had a clock on it. So yeah, if you would like to see closer, there is your clock. Moving on to the next question. So, do you have a poetry book? And yes, I do, although I will admit that poetry is not my preferred reading. Where the Sidewalk Ends, the poems and drawings of Shel Silverstein. And I'll have to admit, I only read like 3 of the poems in this book and then gave up because, like, no offense, they were, like, sure, they have like fun illustrations and stuff, but yeah, poetry is just not my cup of tea. I prefer reading like actual stories better. I don't even know why my parents got this book. So moving on. Do you have a book with an award stamp on it? Yes, I do. I have plenty. my favorite of them is The Roman, the 12, and the King by Jenny L. Cote. And this is one of my all-time favorites. Could you please note the award stamp on there? It says Reader's Favorite Book Award winner. And it's kind of like worn down because, like, yes, my siblings and I have read this book so much and we've all loved it tremendously. And yeah, this book is just amazing. I have a review of it. You can go look on my channel under playlists, click on that, and then scroll down somewhere. It'll say the epic order of the 7 reviews, and yeah, look at them until you find The Roman, the 12, and the King. So yeah, okay, that's that. Moving on to the next question. Do you have a book written by an author with the same initials as you? And no, my initials are PT, and there's like no book on my shelves that are written by an author with the initials PT. So yeah, how tragic. Okay, moving on. Do you have a book of short stories? Yes, I do. Wait, but I forgot to bring it up here. The book is downstairs on my downstairs shelf, but I'll tell you why I don't want to go down there and get it again, although I would. It's because I hurt my knee and it's very painful to walk on, so I don't want to walk up and down, etc. Let me see if I can, like, yeah, so there's my knee. Observe this nastiness here, and it was kind of like swelling over here the past few days. That's why my dad drew like a circle here to make sure that it wasn't spreading, otherwise I could possibly be infected. But yes, that's why I do not want to go back downstairs, because it's very painful to walk on. Okay, you'll have to take my word for it, but it's one of those guys read. It's by like many different authors, of course, because it's all short stories, but the author's name is, but like there's one editor, and his name is like John Zika or something like that. So you'll have to take my word for it. I have mentioned their books in some of my previous videos, I think. I think it was book recommendations for boys, and I'll link that in the description below. And yeah, here's the cover of it, so you can see it here. But yeah, this is the book that I have. You'll just have to take my word for it that I have it. Okay, moving on. Do you have a book that is between 500 to 510 pages long? Yes, I do. Oh my goodness. So I kept looking, and all my books are like either like 520 something pages long or like 490 pages long, but eventually I found a book that 504 pages exactly. This is Omega Dragon by Brian Davis. And this is the last in the Children of the Bard series, but there are like 2 other accompanying series. But yeah, so anyways, if you look here, 504 pages exactly. Technically there are more pages, but I don't count them because they're just like advertising for the other books in the series and other books by this author, so yeah, it doesn't count because it's not part of the actual story. Moving on to the next question. Do you have a book that is turned into a movie? Yes, I do. I have lots, but the most famous one is The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien, and of course this is an amazing book. Anybody who would like to say the movies are better than the books can kindly leave this video now. No, just kidding. Please stay and keep watching this video. But yes, The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. And this is not like a mass market paperback, unfortunately. Otherwise I would have used it for the mass market paperback thing. But yes, and this is the 50th anniversary edition. Oh, wow. Actually, wait, this book has so many maps in it too. Look. 1, 2, 3. See, so many maps. Oh my goodness, I could have used this too. Okay, anyways. Yes, the book has maps, and it got made into a movie, which the movie is also amazing, and I watched all of them with my brother and my dad when I was like 12. Like, my dad is like the biggest Tolkien fan out there. He loves Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit so much. Okay, moving on to the next question. So, do you have a graphic novel? And yes, technically I do. Graphic novels, again, are not my general cup of tea. My siblings do love reading them. We actually don't have that many, and ones that we have are like actually all Christian graphic novels. We got them from Kingstone Comics. I think my dad found them on like Christian book or something. But yeah, so this is actually my favorite one out of all of them. This is The Lamb and the Fuhrer, and it's by Dr. Rabbi Zacharias, actually. But with all the recent scandals, I don't know if I should say this is my favorite. Yeah. So let's just disregard the fact that it's by Dr. Rabbi Zacharias for now. And let's just actually look at the, okay. Now I really wanted to read it again and see if there's like anything wrong with the theology or etc. But anyway, so this book kind of like it goes through kind of like the actions of Hitler, what his last days might have been like, or were like, and it also kind of like goes back and forth between these two teenagers in the present, which are in Germany, and they're visiting different landmarks that kind of correspond to Hitler's story. And then you also have another kind of separate plot line where Hitler is like now dead and he's being judged by God, and Jesus is like talking with him and stuff. Yeah, it's really interesting. But yeah, so Jesus and Hitler are kind of like debating and stuff, and I won't tell the end because that would be like spoiling. But but I just opened to this page, and I don't know if I should like, I don't want to cause a huge debate about this, but anyways, this line where Jesus is saying here, "Where I dwell, hypocrisy and illusion are impossible." And what he just considered the author of this book. Yeah, it's kind of ironic. But yeah, I won't dwell too much on that. Let's go into the next question. So, do you have a book written by 2 or more authors? And yes, I do. And actually, this is the last question. So, this book is Taken, and this is a book number 1 in Left Behind, the Kids series. It's actually an amazing series too. I should review it sometime soon, but I always say that. Okay, and this is written by Tim LaHaye and Jerry B. Jenkins, that you see here, so that's 2 authors, and the rest of the books in this series are also written by these 2, and this is with Chris Fabry, so I guess it's kind of like 3 authors. I don't know if Chris Fabry actually like helped write it, or is he just like kind of a really big assistant in it, but yeah, so anyways, this book was amazing. I highly recommend it. It was just really amazing. Should review it soon. Oh my goodness, I should review all my books soon. Okay, that was the last question, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching me do the Do I Have That Book challenge, and enjoyed seeing a bit more of my bookshelf and the books that I like and stuff. I don't know. Yes, next week I will be reviewing, hopefully, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins, and that's the prequel to the Hunger Games series. And if you're asking why I'm not reviewing it this week, it's because I just actually ordered it last night, and like with this gift card that I got, and I have not been able to pick it up yet, but hopefully I'll be able to read it and review it for next week. So yeah, there you go. If you already liked or subscribed, and if you haven't, please do that now. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Bye!